right, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Let's continue our tradition of our top 10 Game of the Year nominees.
Mm-hmm.
You pick five, I pick five. And then we come together and pick one game that's supreme out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this started. You know what? We've changed it up a couple of times where we've alternated and, I've went, you've went. Let's stick with that.
Okay.
Dave, why don't you go first? Why don't you give me your top five? And I know you have a little side award you want to give. The most disappointing game of 2022.
Oh, yeah. I think I want to make this a recurring theme. I have the game that looks so cool. It's been in development for so long. I was really looking forward to it. It came out on Games Pass. Me and you both played it. I know a bunch of my friends have played it, and all got mixed opinions on it. I did not like it, and that game is Scorn.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what I thought. I thought it was going to be more of like horror action, kind of like a Clive Barker's Undying, or like a Doom, but like H.R. Giger, a little more H.R. Giger-ish, and it's just everything about it was weird. The way the puzzles were just like there, and you had to like figure out what you were even doing. I stumbled into solutions to puzzles without even realizing, what it would do for me or whatever. I was just solving things because, the game brain in me knew that well, this obviously has to do something, or why is it here, right? Unless it's some bullshit mist puzzle that does nothing. And then there's combat, but you're not supposed to engage, but they give you weapons, and just yeah. So that's my disappointment.
I thought it was going to be sort of like Doom with the, just gory, exoskeleton type of, atmosphere. And it turned out to be nothing like that. It is a horror puzzle game.
I'm glad it was on Games Pass so I could try it out and not pay for it. So yeah. But that's not what we were here for. Everyone wants to know the top five, and these are in no particular order. But my first game is, drum roll please, Elden Ring. Now,
nice.
I know Dan doesn't like this game, and you tried it, and I appreciate that you did that.
I thought, to be fair, I got in the game, finally. Mm-hmm. I thought it was gorgeous. Just a gorgeous looking game, gorgeous world. Yep. And I said, this looks awesome. And I went in. I didn't die right away, right? Surprising. I didn't die because I knew what was coming, right? So I knew, all right, I'm going to have to get this combat down. And for a minute, and I mean that in the most literal of terms, a minute, I was doing good, and I'm like, oh, I can play this. This is not that hard. And
right.
I quickly found out, nope, not a game for me.
It's the easiest of all the Souls games, so it is easier than Dark Souls and Sekiro and everything that came before it. It's still difficult though. It's still tough. It's a fair challenge, though. You have to really know when to get in, when to make your strikes. I don't know. Everything about it just kind of hit. Even though it was very tough and I died a lot, but the world is beautiful. They let you explore at your own pace. There's lore there if you want to seek it out, but it's not directly in your face. There's no narrator telling you where to go necessarily. You just kind of figure it out, And I think they do a little bit what Breath of the Wild did. Or does, how they kind of direct you in a particular way so that everybody ends up going up against the first boss. I think it's Margit or whatever it is. And you just get completely walloped. And then you're like, oh, well, maybe I need to level up. Maybe I need to power up a little bit. And there's a whole first little countryside area that you can go around and figure stuff out and fight some lesser bosses and check out some caves, and you come across these weird traveling shopkeepers and all that, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get it. And you're never like completely blocked. Like, so if you can't beat Margit, there's 1,000 different things to do in that first area. And then once you get past Margit, you realize how big the game world is, because that first area is like 1/5, 1/6 of what the game world is, and it's huge in and of its own, and there's so much there. And then the other areas start opening up. You go to Lernia and all the other spots. I mean, I love it. Haven't beaten it, but I put a lot of time into that game. So that's my pick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What do you got, Dan?
Oh, no, just run it down. I wanted you to just run it down.
All of them. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. So let's get into my number 4 pick. And that is Vampire Survivors.
Ooh, that's a dark horse run right there. Okay.
It's a great game, man, and it's only like, I think I bought it for $3. It's always on sale, right? Even when it's not on sale, it's super cheap. This dude, something with a P, I forget his name. I don't know. He's got a pseudonym for his name or whatever. I forget who created it. But it's like one dude, and this guy is tirelessly updating. Every time I go back to the game, there's always at least one new update. And I haven't played in a while, so there's probably like 10 new updates. And I still think it's in beta. Not to say that's a bad thing, but it's just there's so much content. Like it's not even where he wants it to be yet to be the 1.0 release. And for anyone who hasn't played it, it's an auto battler, right? So you don't have to attack because you're always like throwing out weapons, right? You start off with like whatever basic weapon the hero you choose has. Could be a knife or an axe or a cross or holy water or whatever. And every weapon has its own pattern that it flies out in. And every like couple of seconds, a weapon will fly out of you and go in a pattern. And there's enemies around, so you have to maneuver your character so that they hit the hordes of enemies, right? Every time you get hit by an enemy, you take damage. When you go down to 0, you die. And as you kill enemies, they drop gems. And that's how you level your character up. So you keep going, right? And you go up in levels, and then you can either upgrade your current weapons and items, or you can get new weapons and items depending on what they give you. And the whole beauty of it is you kind of build out the weapons and items that work together, because like you get certain bonuses, like if you use like, I don't know, the holy water with like the gauntlets or whatever, right? They can synergize if you max them out and they turn into a super weapon, right? You can like combine the 2 bird weapons together and that forms like a super phoenix or something like that. So like, and you always get random pickups. Every time you level up, you get like 3 or 4 different things you can choose from. And then there's like different things on the map that you can pick up that'll give you bonuses. And it just keeps getting more and more difficulty till you get to the 30-minute mark, and then death comes after you. And you're not supposed to be able to beat death, technically, but you can beat death if you have the right loadout. And then you can just keep going. You can go for as long as you want. And it's amazing. I love it. I recommend everybody to get it. I think it's on console now, too. I think it's on Switch and a couple other systems. So it used to just be on PC originally. You go like get it on Steam for a couple bucks. But, if you want to get the physical, you can certainly do that. I think there's a physical for it.
And I don't think there's a physical. I didn't see that.
You can definitely get it on other systems. I think it's on the Switch and a couple other systems. Physical, the thing of it is like, I don't think they could put a physical out yet because it just keeps getting updated. So whatever version that you have is going to be outdated in a week. So there's really no point other than just having the plastic at that point. But anyway, my number 3 pick is now this game. Oh my God, I got to play it. Me and Anthony. I mean, you didn't get to go to PAX last year, but me and our friend Anthony went, and we got some hands-on time with this game. We got to talk to the devs a little bit, and it was amazing. I was floored by it, but the details were great. Just everything about it, and that's TMNT Shredder's Revenge. All right, this is like This is the long-lost sequel to Turtles in Time that we never got, and now we got. It's amazing. It's a great little game. It's got like 15 levels in it, a couple of unlockables. You can level up your characters.
Came out on Games Pass first, right?
Yeah.
When it came out, I got to play it on Xbox.
Yeah.
I do own the physical on the Switch. I've actually been playing it on the Switch. Over the break. So
mine just came in. I got the VHS edition, which comes with a free Pizza Hut pizza coupon.
Nice.
Which I'm never going to use. I'm probably never going to open it. I want to keep it in pristine condition, but it's in there. Anytime I'm really hungry and have no money, I know where I can get a free pizza.
as long as it lasts.
Well, yeah, it's true. That's true. Hopefully, there's no expiration. I hope they work that out. But yeah, and in the number 2 spot is a game that me and you both played. There wasn't necessarily a lot of overlap with the games that we really got into necessarily. I guess more on my side. We'll see when we get into your games, but I think there's a lot of them that I haven't played, which is kind of interesting. But both of us have played God of War Ragnarok, the long-awaited sequel to God of War, which, was originally just going to be DLC. Then it turned into a full-fledged sequel. It is amazing. It shows us the power of the PS5 and what it can do. It's beautiful. They've expanded every single bit of the first game. A lot more varied locations that you go to. You get a lot more. Techniques that you can level up. There's a brand new weapon in the game, which I still haven't gotten yet, but Dan says is pretty awesome. But you start off with the Blades of Chaos, and you start off with the axe from the previous game, which is great. So you don't have to re-get the Blades of Chaos again. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It plays well. It's a nice sequel to the OG game in 2018. And then my final game. This really surprised me because I saw this on the Microsoft stage, I think at E3. It looked really cool. Had Zelda vibes to it, right? Looked like an isometric Zelda game, like an old school Zelda game. And looks super cute. The art style was really considered. And that game is Tunic. It's a little tough. But
another game that came out on Games Pass first.
That's right. And I fell in love with it. I think one of the coolest things about it is that as you go through the game, you pick up pages of the instruction manual, and that is like a way for you to kind of like a help guide to show you how to do
English. This. What is that like in English? You got to figure out what the pictures.
Parts of it are in English, but most of it isn't. Yeah, it's in like a foreign. Language, a kind of fantasy language or whatnot, which I think is kind of cool, but very much modeled off the original Legend of Zelda. It's got that similar kind of art style and layout. But yeah, most of it is not in English, so you kind of have to decipher what it is. But it's not too hard to figure out what the bombs do and whatnot. But love that game.
Okay.
Love that game, and those are my 5.
Okay. Mm-hmm. No, listen, those are awesome games, with the exception of Elden Ring. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it.
It's fine. That's fine. Some people don't like spinach. It's okay.
Spinach is great. Elden Ring is not.
I don't know. Artichokes, Brussels sprouts, whatever.
You know what? Even beets is awesome.
Okay.
I
like beets.
Yeah, that's the name of the show. Dan loves beets. Beets is awesome.
Dan loves beets. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, love beets. All right. So I don't have, since you went the disappointing route, I'm going to honorable mention route. Mm-hmm. All right. A game that didn't make our top 10 games list. And there are a few I wanted to mention, but this one stood out. And this one I wish had a physical, but another Games Pass game, and that is High on Life. So I know you played a little bit of this game. I played a lot of this game. Yeah. I love this game. And I know we were discussing this a little bit before the show. You thought it was a little buggy. I thought the bugs brought to the charm of the game, more like Fallout, right? Like Fallout 4 with it was a little bit buggy, it was a little wonky, but people thought that
No,
came
I
to the
mean,
charm of
it can
Fallout.
make for good YouTube content if you're riffing on it, but I don't want my gameplay experience to be broken.
I don't think it's broken in any way. I mean, it's a little wonky. I love the humor. I love the comedy.
Oh, I'm with you on that. I think the art style's great. Yeah, Royland's great. Dan Harmon's great in it. Yeah, it's good.
It looked great, and I thought the level design for the different levels were pretty smart and thought out. So I thought that game was great, but it just couldn't beat out the 5 games that I picked to be on our top 10 list.
Okay.
So I'm going to start a little bit earlier in the year. Was Kirby in the Forgotten Land. Yes, I am picking a Kirby game.
Super high on this. Yep.
Yes, I mean, it's not just because Kirby can turn into a car by swallowing it. That's just one aspect of it. But the Kirby game, the different levels, the story behind it, all smart, thought out. The game looked great, and it sort of a surprise, sort of at the end, more like Zelda. You talked about Tunic being sort of like Zelda. This was like gives you vibes of like the original Zelda in the sense of once you beat the game, you can go sort of like to the dark world, which are all the levels you beat flipped with, sort of
Extra
with
challenge.
a twist.
Yeah. Okay.
So you could play a whole other game behind that.
That's cool.
Yes, Kirby games can be easy, Yoshi games can be easy, but this does have a difficulty level where you can ramp it up a little if you want a little bit more of a challenge. I don't know how hard it is because I just kept it on easy because I wanted to fly. I sort of wanted to experience the game and get through the story. So this was a sleeper hit for me. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did enjoy it.
Cool.
My number 4 pick, the King of Fighters 15. I
haven't played.
I don't understand this. This was the best fighting game this year. I don't understand why I didn't win a game award.
Yeah, seriously.
Hands down, this is the best fighting game of the year. I'm not the biggest King of Fighters fan. I mean, it's always going to be fighting for third behind Tekken for me. Right?
Oh yeah.
Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, those are, number 1. You have the occasional Dragon Ball Z fighters that jumps in the mix, but overall fighting game franchise is always going to be fighting with Tekken for third spot in my view. But I thought this game was more, especially if you're more of a Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat fan, right, or just a regular sort of Street Fighter clone type of fighting game fan, like King of Fighters was never that, oh, you could pick it up and play it like Street Fighter.
It's a little more technical. Yeah,
it is definitely more technical. But we had Guilty Gear Strive the year before.
That game was
amazing and more of the technical side like this. So this was a continuation in my view and my muscle memory sort of the different move sets and stuff. So I put it up there with that. I thought this would be a sleeper hit fighting game wise when it first, because it came out earlier in the year. So I didn't know what else was going to come out, but it turned out to be the best fighting game of the year. So I can't not put it on this list.
All right.
Then we got my third game, Horizon Forbidden West. This was my half game of the year. This game is phenomenal. Way better than the first one, more approachable than the first one. The story made more sense than sort of the first one. The first one got a little bit convoluted and was a little confused. This was definitely a little bit more linear in a sense of, you could go open world, sort of like, here, you can go here, you go anywhere you want, but this is where you need to go to further the story.
Right. They let you know where the main critical path is. And you can do other stuff, but it's not they don't really encourage it maybe. Is that what you're saying?
In the first game I was a little like, what do I need to do? How do I do this? It was a little bit more confusing.
Okay.
Again, they focused a lot on the RPG elements. They do have a focus on that here, but I think they did it more in a better way. And I loved sort of like the hub world where I always have to come back to sort of like home base. and the different twists that happen at home base while I'm gone are always surprising. I always wanted to hurry up and get back and see what twist I can go to the dialogue options and see if I could talk to people and see what happened while I was gone. Right. They do have some moments that are sad.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it because I know you haven't played it yet, and I definitely want you to get to it. Hopefully, this year you can actually get to it.
Maybe. I wasn't high on the first one, so it's
I know.
hard.
We both weren't high on the first one. I mean,
I know.
It looked great. Trust me on this. This one is way better than the first one. And the tempo, like it fits, right? Like just like it just all like fits in a straight path. Like the tempo just fits.
Okay.
I'm making stuff up in 2023. Like the tempo just fits. I can't find the words of how I want to explain it, but it just
I think I understand what you're saying. It has a good flow to it,
Yeah. My second game that I honestly I was hyped for it, but I didn't think it would make my game of the year list, but it did, and that is Splatoon 3.
Oh, wow.
I love this game. I low-key love this game. This game actually was, I gotta say, like number 2 behind Kirby for best Switch game of the year at the time when it came out, because it came out in September, and I was like, oh, this game is awesome. And I love the way you leave the multiplayer, you leave sort of the Squid City, and you go into the tunnel, you go into the sewer, and then this is the single player area, and I beat the boss, I beat the area, and I was like, no, the whole area is a tutorial. Now we're gonna bring you to the open world, right? Yeah. And it opens up for you, and it's like, wow. And the challenges are fair, and this game will keep you, even when you beat it, you still want to go back because you want to, see if you can get all the points. I sort of challenged myself. I need to figure out how to get up there. I got to ink something, jump somewhere, right? So this game definitely, I have to go back to this game. I've been putting it off because we had to play stuff for Game of the Year, but I need to get back to this game.
All right.
And then last on my list, number 1 is the best Switch game of the year, and that's Bayonetta 3.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
I know when we first talked about it, I was a little bit down on it, and I was down on it comparatively to the other games in the series. But judging it by itself, it was an amazing game. Awesome game. Still confused at the story. Part 2, definitely a little bit more cohesive and makes more sense. This one, I'm still a little confused on who the bad guy is or was, right?
Okay.
And the motivations and how this all works. But I love the twist at the end. Definitely, there was a big twist at the end. Don't want to spoil it for you because I know you haven't played it yet. Not a fan of, I call it the Megazords, because you get they give you the abilities of, like, the big Bayonetta and the spider and the train. You'll collect them over the course of the game, and they give you, and they throw in these little challenges where you have to figure out how to hit these pillars with your Megazord in allowed time that you have the Megazord, because you don't have the Megazord for an unlimited amount of time. Like, you have it for a certain amount of time until that bar goes, and then done, right? So you can't, like, just use it in a fight indefinitely. And they can die too. Like, they can get killed or knocked out for a certain amount of time.
Sure. So they're not super invincible. You're super powerful, but not indestructible.
Correct. But those it wasn't like those little challenges gave me anything in the game. I know what they were trying to do, trying to make you think, or the puzzle, and 1 or 2 of them I thought were thoughtful and good and not hard to figure out, and then there were others that were just a pain in the ass, and I was like, why is this here?
Right.
But aside from that, it was more Bayonetta. I did not notice the difference in the voice actor, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, that was that whole scandal.
Yeah, there was the whole scandal with the voice actor. Didn't understand. It didn't take me away from that at all. And I thought it was a great game. It just nearly beat out Kirby for best Switch game of the year, in my view.
All right.
So with that said, Dave, we got our top 10. Those are our top 10 nominees for Game of the Year of 2022. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the top gaming news of last year. And then at the end, we're going to announce the game of the year winner.
All right, let's do it.
It's time for the game of the year 2022, the GOAT of 2022, the Michael Jordan of 2022, the Tom Brady, the Wayne Gretzky, the Serena Williams of 2022.
The Eli Manning? Come on, he beat Tom Brady twice, all right?
He did, but he's not the GOAT. He's not the GOAT.
You know, sure.
You just had to get it. You know what? I give that to you. I got my wrestling. I got my little wrestling hook in. You got a Giants hook in. So we got it.
So let's just recap real quick the 10. Right. So I had Elden Ring, Vampire Survivors, TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, God of War Ragnarok, and Tunic. And you had Kirby and the Forgotten Land, King of Fighters 15, Horizon Forbidden West, Splatoon 3, and Bayonetta 3. And then, in a surprise turn, we had the Order 18. No.
No,
that time is come and gone. Only game to be nominated 3 times in a row, 2015, 2016, 2017. The Order 1886. It'll go down in history. Yes.
It would go down in history. As a matter of fact, the NBA started naming their awards after famous players. Like yeah. So if you you win the MVP of the league, that's the Michael Jordan MVP, right? Okay. And I think Bill Russell, the MVP of the finals, is like Bill Russell. Yeah. So I think we should name our award. So I think we should call it the Order 1886 Game of the Year of the year.
I like it.
It's the first game. It's the first game to have its own award.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Without further ado.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll let you do it this year.
No. Okay, Dave. I'm kicking it to you. The Order 1886 Game of the Year 2022 is
God of War Ragnarok. Now, this was probably the easiest year ever because there wasn't a lot of games that me and Dan both played that we both really liked. And the answer was God of War, right? You didn't like Elden Ring. We both loved Shredder's Revenge, but it didn't quite make it. You didn't play Vampire Survivors. You thought Tunic was too difficult. I didn't play Bayonetta 3. I didn't play Splatoon. I didn't play Horizon. I didn't play King of Fighters or Kirby.
I'll be honest. So going back, it was God of War for me. Mm-hmm. Like 100%. Like God of War was like my top, game of 2022. And I was a little worried because I know you were so big into Elden Ring, and I really wanted you. I almost bought you Horizon Forbidden West and shipped it to your house because I thought this was an important game for you to play because it was really, really, really good. And if God of War didn't come out this year, I probably would have did that. Just so you could get to see how much better Horizon Forbidden West was from the first one. Right. And it's so much easier to get into in this. But no, God of War checked all the boxes. I mean, it looked great. It played great. The mechanics were great. The story, we got the continuation of the story, and it, I don't know if you actually finished it yet. No, you haven't finished it because you haven't even got the secret weapon that shall not be named yet because you will get it.
Nope.
And I think, what do you think about the upgrade system in God of War Ragnarok compared to the original God of War 2018?
It's exactly the same.
I think it's a little bit more simplified somewhat. I think they took a step out of it to where you could just upgrade it.
I don't know. It felt, I mean, it was the same, like, get all these things to craft this better version of this thing and it'll get a little bit better with a couple extra points, and it's too much. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Maybe it was a little more simple than the first one. A little bit more streamlined, maybe is the word. But still, even with all that, I thought it was great. I think the story is a lot better. Atreus is even better in this one. He was great in the first one. I think he's even better in this one. So
This did it for me. I mean, I thought again, one of the best looking games of the year. I mean, right up there with Elden Ring. If we're talking about visuals, definitely I would, nominate Elden Ring like hands down. But like, God of War visually, storytelling, the story arc definitely captured me. Like it was one of the best stories told in video games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I really like the way they went in the twist at the end. The crafting, I didn't really have an issue with the crafting. The only issue I could say, the end, the big boss battle at the end was slightly disappointing to me. Maybe to you it'd be, because you play things on hard, so maybe to you it'd be a little bit more satisfying. To me, I was slightly disappointed with the ending boss, but I won't say who it is. But
okay.
But the big battle with Thor, the big battle, which is not a secret, and the big battle with the bear, which is in the trailer.
Yeah,
I thought those were awesome. I think the big battles are epic, and they usually are epic in God of War games. So more so in this one, they built upon what they did in God of War 2018. So I thought this was fantastic, and Christopher Judge did an amazing job. Where he's now, he's protecting it's like that dynamic. Your son is older and he's old enough to do things on his own, but you still want to protect him, but you have to let him spread his wings. And I think Christopher Judd did a phenomenal job with that.
Right. Yeah. It's good stuff. So there you go. Our game of the year, 2022, God of War Ragnarok.
So, Dave. Got any weekend plans?
Yeah, I got to get out of the house, Dan. The weather's actually unseasonably nice. All right, it's in the 50s and 60s, so
it's raining.
Yeah, I'm gonna
raining.
I'm gonna go out and get some fresh air, travel around the city. I'm gonna do some game hunting. Got to get back on the grind.
Okay.
How about you?
Well, I have to, now that we already, we did a Saturday Morning Retro Show, episode 27, if I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You should check that out. Hopefully that'll be up. Hopefully that's up already. By
the time you're hearing this, it'll be up. Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna go. I gotta clean up the game room and take a look and see what the next game is for Saturday Morning Retro for January.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and definitely listen for episode 28 because I got some heavy hitters for Christmas gifts. I get them every year. And I got some good ones. So check out Saturday Morning Retro episode 28 when hopefully that'll drop at the end of this month.
Nice. All right. Well, that is episode 341 in the books. First episode of 2023. Happy to be back on the mics. And we want to thank you guys for listening to the show, for liking, commenting, doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. So please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.